This video is presented by MyBookie.ag. What's up, guys? Here are my predictions for UFC 252 happening this Saturday. The card got trimmed down a bit. I mean, we just lost the Ian Cutelaba versus Magomed Ankalaev fight they were all very much looking forward to. The card now only has 10 fights, which is extremely short. I mean, it has to be like a record, right? But we still have great matchups, man. TJ Brown versus Danny Chavez, which is going to be starting the card, is actually a very good fight. Herbert Burns is on the card, a great prospect, one of the highest level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu artists in his division. And John Dodson versus Merab Dvalishvili is a very good fight. But we are going to start with Junior Dos Santos versus Jairzinho Rosenstruik. Now, both these fighters are coming off pretty bad losses. JDS has 2 losses in a row, both finishes by TKO, one to Francis Ngannou and the other to Curtis Blades. He got outstruck by Curtis Blades, which is a bit alarming coming into this fight, but Rosenstruik is coming off a devastating knockout to Francis Ngannou. Very bad knockout that could change someone's mentality, change their confidence coming to their next fight. And that is something we just don't know about. But on paper, JDS does have a style that could deal very well against a guy like Jairzinho Rosenstruik. Outside of the damage that he has sustained throughout his career, his style is good against Rosenstruik's. Very elusive footwork and long, quick punches. It can deal with someone who plods so much, like Jairzinho Rosenstruik. Rosenstruik does not move that much, and if he does, it's very slow movement. He likes to stay in the center of the octagon and kickbox with his opponent, but that is just something JDS is not going to do. JDS is going to act like the longer fighter in this one. Even though Rosenstruik has a 1-inch reach advantage, he's going to punch from a long range, use that jab, use leg kicks, use that check left hook, and possibly look for that big right hand. And when this approach combines with Rosenstruik's lack of movement, it allows JDS to work without falling into his weakness, which is heavy pressure. When you heavily pressure JDS, he becomes so much more vulnerable. It almost looks like he's a completely different fighter. The quick active punches while he's on the offensive all of a sudden become non-existent when he's on the defensive. He does not counterpunch. He just looks to move back with his hands down, circle the cage, and get back to the center of the octagon, where now he can start punching a little bit more. And if he gets pressured again heavily, it just repeats. And this is why a guy like Cain Velasquez destroyed him. And also Stipe Miocic. Curtis Blades was able to put it on him, and Alistair Overeem was able to catch him throughout the fight. The only guy that was able to take advantage and beat JDS at his own game was Francis Ngannou. He was able to counter JDS, and that could be very alarming if Rosenstruik changes his approach and actually goes after JDS. But if he sticks to what he usually does, he's going to have to wait for JDS to do stuff, and he's going to have to look to counter him, kind of like Francis Ngannou did. Now, he can absolutely do so, but he can only do it countering JDS as JDS attempts those big looping punches, that overhand right, uppercut, or left hook. He can attack down the center with straight punches. His jab is enough to knock out anybody in this division. He has knocked out people with the jab. He's knocked out people with a tight check left hook like he caught Andrei Arlovski. And that would be enough to hurt JDS, who has taken so much damage in his career. It just takes one punch. Not only is it going to take one punch for Rosenstruik to beat JDS, man, one punch from either of these two can make any of us right or wrong about this fight. And that's why it's so hard to predict. So my prediction for this fight, I'm going to go with Rosenstruik because of the damage JDS has sustained. If he comes out there and doesn't get hit, uses his movement, punches quick from a long range, and able to catch Rosenstruik, kind of how Alistair Overeem was doing throughout the fight, he can absolutely win this. That's why this fight's hard to predict. But I gotta go with Rosenstruik, man. I think the power's a little bit too much. I think looking at JDS perform the way he did against Curtis Blades, it's not looking good coming to a fight with Rosenstruik. So I'm gonna go with Rosenstruik. I'm gonna go by a second round knockout. And then we go to Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Vera, a fight a lot of people are looking forward to because, for one, Sean O'Malley is probably the biggest prospect, or top 3 biggest prospects in MMA right now. And secondly, he's fighting the hardest fight in his entire career so far. Marlon Vera 100% has the skills of a top 15 fighter. Even though he's not top 15, he fought Song Yadong, who is number 13 at the moment, and controversially lost. Most people believe he won that fight. And not only that, you could just look out through his entire career. He has the skills that someone like O'Malley should 100% have to respect, and which he is. He has great kicks in general, great leg kicks, great push kicks. He's a switch stance fighter as well, which is going to throw off some of the angles from Sean O'Malley. O'Malley switches a lot too, so it's going to be very interesting of what stance they're going to stay predominantly, and which they're going to use to take away some of the things of the opponent. It's going to become a chess match because Marlon Vera is not only skilled offensively, he's much more skilled defensively. He's much better at not getting hit clean. He's much better at parrying punches, blocking punches. I would even say he's better at blocking and parrying punches than Sean O'Malley is, right? O'Malley uses a lot of head movement and stuff. He parries pretty well too, but Marlon Vera's biggest assets in this fight are his fundamental boxing defense and his durability. The guy can take a hit. Look at him fight Song Yadong, a guy who blasts through opponents, right? He hit Marlon Vera with some clean shots, and Marlon Vera always looked, it never bothered him. And not only is that a thing that we look at coming to this fight, he dealt with the speed of Song Yadong extremely well, especially after that first round. First round, he was biting on the feints and reacting a little bit heavy to the speed. It looked like he didn't really expect at that level. But then he got the hang of it and start catching Song Yadong with good elbows in the clinch, good knees, good leg kicks, good push kicks. And that ultimately should have gotten the victory that night. That durability and the hang of the speed coming off the fight with Song Yadong is absolutely going to help him come into a fight with Sean O'Malley, who greatly benefits from his speed. He's going to be able to see the punches a lot better than many of the fighters that Sean O'Malley has fought in the past. And if he gets hit, he's going to be able to be composed and deal with it way better than anybody else has. With the pressure that he brings in fights, and with the pressure he 100% has to bring into a fight with Sean O'Malley, it can force O'Malley in a different kind of fight where he's always looking to respond to Marlon Vera. Right? If he gets to a point where he's only responding to Vera, he's going to start losing the fight inch by inch, because Vera attacks the legs very well. We don't see a lot of people attack the legs of Sean O'Malley. He throws a lot of good push kicks. A lot of people don't go to the body of Sean O'Malley either. And Vera is much better in the clinch. Great elbows, great knees, great trips from there. And he's going to have to force it there, especially try to get it to the ground, try to land those elbows, trying to just disrupt what O'Malley is attempting to do. But at the end of the day, O'Malley's smart, man. He's talked about all of this. He knows Vera's good in the clinch. He knows Vera is going to try to push it up against the cage and land with the elbows, control O'Malley in a confined space. He knows about the long kicks of Vera. And where he feels like he has the better advantage is in the boxing range, and that is 100% true. Marlon Vera is not the best boxer. He's not the best with his hands. It's his kicks, knees, elbows, and clinch. He's good defensively against punches, but offensively, he doesn't really put things out there that much. And that can leave him at a very big disadvantage, trying to deal with a longer, faster, more athletic, more powerful, more creative puncher in this fight. Not only that, O'Malley's high kicks are going to be a problem as well. As long as he doesn't suffer too much damage to the legs, he's going to be able to throw those high kicks up there, mask him behind punches, and even to this day, he's a bit of an enigma still. And you could just see there's so much more to him that he's already shown. And that creativity, the unpredictability, may be the lone factor for him winning this fight. But ultimately, my prediction for this, I gotta go with Sean O'Malley. The main reason for this is Marlon Vera is too defensive. He's way more defensive than he is offensive. And that's going to allow a guy like Sean O'Malley to work a little bit more, and you never want O'Malley to control the fight. He becomes way too hard to deal with. His volume is outrageous, his power is outrageous, and his creativity just keeps adding on. Nothing just makes sense the longer you fight this guy. Maybe for Vera it might, because Vera is an extremely strong third round fighter, and maybe he could download the data up until the third round and find out some things here and there. This is why this is O'Malley's hardest fight. But the low punch count, the low volume from Vera, the low offensive rate that he usually has, I think that alone is going to put him in so much danger. O'Malley is going to start picking at him from a distance, and eventually he will win by a possibly third round TKO, or I'll go by a decision win. And then we go to the main event. Stipe Miocic versus Daniel Cormier III, the rubber match. 1-1. Overall, when you look at both their fights, Daniel Cormier has more success than Stipe does when you look at the total rounds they have fought. Right? And that can lead to many people just saying that DEC is going to win this fight. He has been more successful than Stipe has in their fights. But you have to look at those eye pokes. That's number one. Those eye pokes 100% had an effect on both those fights. And Stipe is going to talk to the ref. Potentially one eye poke can be enough to take a point away from DC. Because of his history with that technique, I don't know if the ref is going to give him any leniency. I think he's going to take a point and not be tolerant at all with this. And that can really change this fight. Maybe discourage him from hand fighting and get inside the longer guy's range, behind the hand fighting, behind grabbing Stipe's hands and finding an entry for the jab and stuff like that, using a speed advantage. And that leaves him on the outside range, the far range, for Stipe to work his boxing and work together many other different kind of techniques. The other thing we have to know is the fight is in a small cage. And that is going to 100% favor Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier can wrestle a little bit more. Stipe is going to need more range to work with, and ultimately he's not going to have that. But the smaller cage is probably going to allow more action, and with that, body shots from Stipe might be more present than ever before. And then there's this, the body shot fixing that Daniel Cormier needs to do. If he has not fixed that defensive hole in his game, he's going to succumb to it again. He's going to suffer from those punches to the body, because immediately when Stipe connected to the body, Daniel Cormier couldn't do a thing about it. He never defended it. He just couldn't get away from it. It became the ultimate punch to beat him. It became his kryptonite. And not only that, this same punch was present when he fought John Jones. John Jones did the same thing, that left hook to the body, and DC never was able to defend it. John Jones is the one to exploit that hole, and Stipe is the one who perfected it. Now, if Daniel Cormier did in fact fix this hole, fix this problem in his game, that is not enough to tell us much, right? How is he fixing it? What is he going to do to fix that? Because fixing this can actually cause another opportunity for Stipe to connect on him, right? It depends what he does. It depends how he fixes it. He could fix it by wrestling possibly. He can fix it by attacking a certain way. But Javier Mendez, who is DC's striking coach and head coach, talked about the body shots and talked about how he should defend it. Just fundamental boxing defense, right? Bring the elbows in tight to the body and parry, deflect with the elbows. This caused the left hook to go past the body, open Stipe up on that side to the head, and DC could connect on him with an overhand right or something like that. This is what leads me to believe that this is what DC is going to do. Because his coach talked about it, DC is going to start bringing his hands closer together, elbows down tight, and approach Stipe with that kind of pressure. But if he actually does this, it puts another difficult hurdle in his way. How is he going to get into Stipe's range now? Because the reason why he was getting hit in the body in the first place, against these longer fighters, these 6'4" fighters with 80+ inch reaches, is he reaches forward with his hands up high. Because he's so much shorter than the opponent, he has to reach higher to grab onto their hands. And when he grabs onto their hands, hand fights with them, he can walk in behind it and land with punches using his speed, right? When you raise your arms up to reach for the taller guy's hands, your body, your ribs, your liver is exposed. And all Stipe has to do is get his head off center line, go left hook to the body, right there and then. And DC cannot get in close without doing just that, reaching forward. So if he's going to come in there with his hands in tight, elbows tight to the body, now he can't reach anymore. So if he's not reaching anymore, or not reaching as frequently, how is he going to get inside of Stipe's range safely? DC's also talked about wrestling more, using the single legs, using the double legs. Cage is smaller. Work against the cage a lot easier. Find the single leg, try to get Stipe to the ground, lift him up, slam him, all that stuff. But eventually this is going to gas him out because he's fighting a big fighter like Stipe Miocic, who's going to be defending everything he's going to try to do. Stipe does have generally a better gas tank. He's better with his cardio, just on paper. If you look at it like stats or something, Stipe's stat for cardio is just higher. So ultimately, keep wrestling and grinding out Stipe Miocic, I believe, is ultimately going to gas out DC no matter what. Especially with the body shots that Stipe is going to commit with, and the head shots to follow up with that. That pivot cross of Stipe Miocic is so precise, man. It's the one that caught DC a couple times in the fight, and the one that eventually finished him off. That gets him off the center line, and ultimately can get him off center line for the takedowns. DC's going to grab onto the leg, but now Stipe's body position is somewhere else, and DC's going to have to change the angle, redirect to finish off the takedown. And that goes right into my prediction for this fight. It's a hard fight to call. It's very close, man. But ultimately, I'm going to have to go with Stipe Miocic. And I'm going to go by a decision win this time. I think DC is going to wrestle so much that he's going to survive any kind of damage he's going to sustain, right? He's not going to be in there for the long haul on the feet. I think he's going to wrestle all the way till the end of the fight. I think toward the end of the fight, the 4th and 5th rounds, the wrestling is not going to be as effective as it was in the first 3. And then ultimately, he's going to open him up more for some punches, but he's going to start diving in Stipe's legs just to get away from the hands. The body shots are, I believe, going to really ramp up in the first 2 rounds. And that's going to also cause DC to gas out more. It only takes a few body shots from Stipe to really hurt the gas tank and really hurt the body. And Stipe is also amazing at just being patient, right? He's not a guy who rushes. All of his first round knockouts are not because he rushed the opponent from bell to bell, right? He's very good at being patient and picking where he needs to punch. He's extremely precise with that right hand. And if DC's not hand fighting with him, Stipe knows not to rush for the body shot all of a sudden, only if it shows to be a vulnerability, only if DC shows him that opening. But if he's not doing that, if he's coming in with his hands tight, Stipe's of course going to connect with jabs to the head, right hand to the head, all this stuff, check left hook if DC lunges forward with something crazy. They're both also going to leg kick each other, and I do think it's going to favor DC a lot more if he leg kicks Stipe, because Stipe doesn't have the best leg kicking defense. He doesn't check kicks that much. He's very heavy with his boxing, and that can actually give DC a huge advantage. Just depends if he goes to it more frequently. But all in all, I'm going to go Stipe Miocic. I think it's a close fight. I can absolutely be wrong on this, and I'm going to go by a decision win. And man, there's a lot of close fights on this card. Main event's crazy close. Co-main event might actually still be close. Even the JDS and Rosenstruik fight, hard to pick, man. That fight is one punch away from a victor. And because of that, there's a lot of opportunities when you bet with MyBookie.ag. No one gives you more ways to win and better lines than they do. From knockouts to submissions to decisions to draws, name it. You can bet with it on MyBookie. They also have a special going on, specifically for the Stipe Miocic versus Daniel Cormier fight. They're putting on the first ever free bet on a UFC main event. That's right, a free $52 bet on that championship fight. And you wonder, how do you claim this risk-free bet? Well, number one, you bet the winner of Daniel Cormier vs. Stipe Miocic on August 15. Number two, your first cashback qualifies. Pre-match fight winner and straight wagers only. Number three, winning bets win. All other outcomes will be credited by 12 p.m. Eastern time the following day. Number four, a maximum of $52 will be refunded as cash. And number five, one-time rollover on refunded bets. So it's an amazing opportunity, a huge thing from MyBookie to give back to the customers. Also, it's summertime, and at MyBookie, that can only mean one thing: it's winning season. Winning season means doubling your first deposit. Bet NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, Major League Baseball, UFC, and more. The craziest sports summer of your lifetime is here. It's very simple. Just make your picks, win big, and collect your cash. All you have to do is enter the promo code WEASEL to activate this offer. That's promo code WEASLE, and you double your first deposit. New players can get up to $1,000 in free play designed to add more excitement to the sports you love and games you bet. From cross-sport wagers, props, parlays, they're all waiting. Your winning season begins today. Only at MyBookie. Now, when we actually look at the betting odds here, they do have Merab Dvalishvili as a huge favorite over John Dodson. He's like a 2.5 to 1 favorite, but John Dodson has great takedown defense, man. He's so crafty, so much of a veteran. That should show everybody because of what he did to Nathaniel Wood in his last fight, right? TKO'd him, and he's a much better striker than Merab. Merab may win the fight. He's so ruthless, so relentless with his wrestling, but 2.5 to 1 favorite is a bit too much, man. Everything else I pretty much agree with. I mean, the odds are super close in most of these. O'Malley is a big favorite, but I can see that Stipe and DC is dead even. JDS and Rosenstruik is almost dead even. This is exactly what I was talking about, man. So I hope you guys enjoyed the predictions, and if you did, make sure to thumbs up. If you enjoyed my content, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.